Welcome to the Privacy News Online Weekly Recap, where we bring you the latest privacy news stories from around the world. My name is Brian Tong, and I'm your host. So here we go with the latest from Privacy News Online. Federal courts ruled that reverse location requests by police violate the Fourth Amendment. Law enforcement has previously used reverse location requests, otherwise known as geofencing warrants, to ask tech companies like Google to provide a list of all smartphones located near the scene of a crime as a way to find suspects. A federal court has now ruled that these types of warrants are unconstitutional because they violate the protections against unreasonable search and seizure. Freedom of expression hangs in the balance at Julian Assange's extradition hearing. The editor of WikiLeaks is facing the extradition hearings that will affect his life and also the fate of freedom of expression around the world. Last year, Assange was arrested in London after an extradition request from the United States. Should he be extradited to the US, Assange faces multiple charges under the Espionage Act and Computer Fraud and Abuse Acts. Amnesty International is concerned about the chilling effect that Assange's prosecution in the US might have on whistleblowing around the world. Federal Appeals Court finds the NSA's mass surveillance of American phone records was illegal. The United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit has ruled what many of us knew for a long time, that the NSA program to spy on American phone records was completely illegal. In fact, besides being illegal, the program was ineffective at stopping terrorists too. Now, this domestic spying program was first revealed to the public by Edward Snowden back in 2013, and the court specifically mentioned Snowden's leaks as instrumental in revealing the NSA's illegal actions to the world. So, P&O wants to know, do you believe that Edward Snowden should be pardoned? Comment below, and your comment could be read during next week's episode. If we read your comment, you'll get 1 month of free VPN service from private internet access so you can hide your IP address. Now, last week, we asked you, how would you respond to a copyright extortion letter? In response, @SchoolRuler commented, they will receive no reply unless they escalate the issue, and even then, let the lawyer do the talking. But of course, I use PIA, so something like that shouldn't be happening. Hey, thanks to SchoolRuler for sharing your story and the private internet access plug. Since we read your comment during this week's episode, you will be receiving 1 month VPN subscription to private internet access for free. Time to check out the latest cybersecurity news from Josh, a cybersecurity expert from Intego, developers of award-winning security software.
Here are this week's top cybersecurity stories, brought to you by Intego. The secure messaging app Threema is going open source. Threema will soon join Signal and Wickr as an end-to-end encrypted video, voice, and text messaging service that makes its app source code available for public review. Meanwhile, covert Windows malware dubbed Crypto Cebula has come to light. It installs a cryptocurrency miner, steals crypto wallets, and silently replaces wallet addresses copied to the keyboard. The malware has been around since 2018, but it's stayed undiscovered by limiting its distribution so far to just 2 European countries. P&O viewers and listeners can stay protected with Intego's PC or Mac protection software. For a special discount, use the link in the episode description. That's it for now. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks for all that, Josh. And to learn more about Intego, check out the links below. Now, back to more privacy news. The privacy perils of using a mesh network and why we urgently need one that is robust and open source. Last week, we highlighted that Bridgefy, the supposedly encrypted messaging app meant for protesters to use at demonstrations, was actually full of security and privacy holes. The same researchers took a look at the currently available alternatives and weren't able to find anything that provided the security and privacy needed in high-risk situations like protests. What is clear, though, is that a mesh network solution needs to be open source to be trustable. Facebook halts Oculus Quest sales in Germany amid privacy concerns. Facebook has stopped sales of their new Oculus VR headset in Germany because they may have run afoul of the GDPR with their announcement that all Oculus users would need to log in using a Facebook account by 2023. European privacy laws include something called a coupling ban, which forbids coupling service accounts in this way. Now, Facebook is in talks with the Hamburg Commissioner on Data Protection and Freedom of Information and voluntarily stopped sales while they work things out. The UK's online ID plans expensive, intrusive, and unnecessary. Despite many promises to the contrary, the UK government has recently announced plans for an online ID card for British citizens as a way to revolutionize the way that the government keeps track of data. Under the proposal, the new digital ID would be used to check for immigration status, age, and streamlining healthcare. Now, many experts have come out to emphasize that such a move would be expensive, anti-privacy, and a significant upgrade to the UK's surveillance state. All right, now it's time for Privacy Talks. Privacy Talks brings you interviews between Privacy News Online's Caleb Chen and influencers, activists, and experts from pro-privacy organizations around the world. So let's go to Caleb, who recently caught up with Ruth Smeeth from the Index on Censorship to talk about censorship and its damaging effects on the internet and the world.
Could you expand more on what Index on Censorship does?
So Index on Censorship, I think, is a wonderful organisation, but I would say that. We were set up nearly 50 years ago to provide a platform for those people who couldn't be heard in the countries that they live in. So to make sure that Soviet dissidents originally had their voice heard. We continue to do that around the world, but also protecting the UK and further afield. The core human right of free speech, to make sure that people understand why it's so important, but also that they know where to go to if they need help to make sure they can be heard.
What advice would you give to those viewers that may be living under the new Iron Curtain of censorship, but still want their voices to be heard?
If you want your voice to be heard and you live in a repressive regime, get me your voice. I will do everything that I can. It's what my organisation was set up to make sure you are published. Index has a magazine which we've had for 50 years where we publish the words of those people who can't be published at home. So email me, my details undoubtedly are going to be on here, and I will do everything I can to get you published.
Check out the links in the description to learn more about the Index on Censorship. Now you're up to date on the latest privacy and cybersecurity news. Privacy News Online is brought to you by Private Internet Access, the award-winning no-log VPN service who reminds you to always use protection. Now, whether you use the internet to stream, torrent, or just browse, a VPN subscription from Private Internet Access will hide your IP address and location, block ads, malware, and trackers, and it will even unblock geo-restricted content so you can stream your favorite shows wherever you are in the world. So don't wait another second. Sign up for Private Internet Access now and get up to 2 months free using the link below, where you can also find a link to learn more about all the stories in this week's Privacy News Online. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Brian Tong, and we'll see you next week.